Well, first things first, as we talk about developments out in Nashville, we're actually going to go to Washington, D.C. and show you some video of the two Justins and the Gloria, the Tennessee Three, sitting in the Oval Office there with the Vice President and the President. Those are, of course, the three that stood up for gun safety laws on the floor of the State House and were punished for it, especially the two Justins who were actually expelled. And the conversation of gun safety came up as a part of that meeting, and they talked about it afterwards, of course, but had to be a thrill for them to be a part of that, for sure.
No question about it, Richard. And first thing that came to my mind was how many of these Republican leaders up there, Cameron Sexton or any of the others, how many of them have had an audience with the president and the vice president sitting down in the White House? My answer is probably zero. And this legislature, this Republican-controlled House, elevated these three to a national status here based on their own anger and wounded ego. And now we see what's going on here. This whole incident made the State House look like a laughingstock.
And let me just say, Richard, I've known Gloria Johnson for years out of Knoxville. She's been fighting like this on the Hill forever. And she's amazing, and the two Justins are too. But just to think the Vice President came to Nashville to meet with the three of them, and then they were invited to the White House. Incredible.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you have Governor Bill Lee now in this precarious situation. He really wants to get a red flag law. He won't call it that, but that's what it is. A red flag law passed, and is saying he's going to call back lawmakers to take up this single issue. They're playing this game of, well, you can't call us back until we see the manifesto that the shooter wrote before the shooting there at Covenant School in Nashville. And it seems kind of silly. I don't see how one really relates to the other, but they're and the governor's planning to, at least he posted on social media late last week, that he is going to release to the public whatever was in this manifesto. But it doesn't negate the issue that needs to be addressed here. However, there's a lot of talk, at least among the Capitol press that covers state lawmakers, that he would be a fool to do this and have a special session if he doesn't know ahead of time that he's got the votes lined up. And it will have enough Republican support to do it. So I guess he must be working the phones, huh, Deidre?
Well, I was in Nashville at the governor's mansion for a dinner on Wednesday night. And he spoke about the session and all those laws that he was proud to get passed. But then he talked and was very sincere about the law that he wants to bring forth with a special session. And you know, everything that I'm hearing, Richard and Otis, is that he is really looking at how he can count those votes to make sure that when he calls that special session, that, you know, the legislation does pass.
So you think it'll happen?
I think it will happen. I think that he's working really hard. I know that he's genuine about passing it and getting it before the legislature. I do think that it will happen, though.
Notice, for people who don't know, it's personal for this governor. His wife
Very
lost
personal.
one of her dear, if not best friend, who was shot in that shooting, and also his kids went to that school. So it is a personal issue for him, and maybe he's looking at this issue differently than he would have 6 months ago. What do you think about the likelihood of a special session?
Well, if there is going to be a special session, he needs to have whipped these votes by then.
Yeah.
Because it will do total harm, I think, to his credibility if he calls one and they vote it down.
Right.
And I would be shocked if they went along with anything that had any real teeth to it. I think if we have something out of this special session, it's going to be very watered down. It's going to be something that even the most understanding Republican has to feel like they can live with. But yeah, this is personal for the governor. Yeah. But you know, he had not shown any leadership on this issue prior to that, and so now he's coming across as really going after this when he has not done anything to stem the other free gun laws that we have here to allow people to carry weapons without permits, and they were trying to lower the age to 18. I mean, he didn't really show a lot of leadership there. But I understand on this one. Yeah, this is personal, and he is trying to do everything he can, but he's going to have to get the votes to do it, and I'm just not seeing the votes right now.
Isn't this a case of where maybe the governor sees the goose is cooked on this. There's really no point in fighting for it if he knows they're just going to laugh him out of the State House.
Well, I think that he is probably going to work really hard to try and make sure he has those votes because this is personal for him. And it's important to him.
Okay.
But he's going to have Cameron Sexton and Randy McNally on his side.
You're right.
And
You're
I'm
absolutely
just
right.
not seeing Cameron Sexton on interested in doing this in any kind of substantial way. I'm just not.
Yeah,
See.
they've dug in their heels, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
They really they're not too inclined at all to cooperate with this. They've got constituents they got to answer to back at home, and I think they see the handwriting on the wall there.
Everything I'm hearing, Cameron has his own issues.
And plenty of them.
Well, he's under
Right?
investigation.
And plenty of them.
His
Exactly.
per diems, he's under investigation for his residency.
Right.
There's a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
We only have a minute left, so I really quickly want to at least touch on the issue of the lawsuit filed by the DOJ against the state of Tennessee over the transgender legislation affecting minors and saying that it's illegal for them. The DOJ is claiming for Tennessee to have done this. I got 20 seconds for each of you. How far do you think this case goes?
Well, probably farther than it should go. I mean, this is a very minor issue. The state probably shouldn't have even addressed this in the first place. And now you got the federal government involved on something that it impacts so few people. This is not an issue for most people.
I agree with Otis. I mean, the DOJ is involved now, but here's the state again, delving into a family's decision, which they shouldn't have to.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to have to do it for us. And my thanks to both of you for being here. We always appreciate your insight and expertise, and my thanks to you at home as well. We'll see you next week for ABC24 This Week.